everyone. I'm Kara Minowie. This is ShellPoint Today for Thursday, May 1st. On today's show, we learn how the lighting in your home can make a big difference in helping your vision. We'll also talk to Sherry Brown and learn the unique roles of the volunteer concierge in the Larson Pavilion. But first, today is the first day of the month, which means it's sign-up day. Peruse your new issue of ShellPoint Life magazine and then sign up for the events and activities that catch your fancy starting at 8:15 a.m. at both the Island and Woodland service desks. Today is also the National Day of Prayer. The United States has designated National Days of Prayer since 1775, even before we were a nation. As part of this nationwide event, the Village Church is hosting a community prayer service with both residents and employees participating. Whether you're a churchgoer or not, all are welcome to the community prayer service at 10:45 a.m. in the Social Center on the Island. If you haven't heard, the Village Church is relocating its services for the summer due to the extensive renovations in the church building. From now on, Sunday morning services will be held in the Grand Cypress Room at the Woodlands for the rest of the summer. Extra bus services are already lined up to transport people to and from the Island and Eagles Preserve. Because of the smaller room size, there will be 2 Sunday morning services at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., which are both identical, so you can choose which time of day to attend. Sunday night and Wednesday night services will now be held in the Social Center on the Island. Sunday night at 6:15, Wednesday night at 7:15. Christian life study classes will not meet through the summer. What if you watch the services on TV? Well, live broadcasts will not be possible this summer, but we are recording Sunday morning services and broadcasting them on the church's new website, villagechurchmedia.com, where you can download both video and audio of every sermon and also read the church bulletin. Once again, that's villagechurchmedia.com. ShellPoint TV is also going on hiatus next week. We will be installing equipment in the studio that will allow us to broadcast in high definition, just like the other channels on your dial. Channels 11, 12, and 13 will be off the air from May 5th until May 19th, when it will be back and better than ever. Now, for those 2 weeks, where will you get your information? Well, we highly recommend shellpoint.net, the award-winning website that has all the information you need and more. You can find your menu options for the entire month, academy schedules, memorial notices, and much more. Try it out. We promise you'll like it. It's www.shellpoint.net. Now we want to shift gears and talk about light. In the Sunshine State, it may seem silly to tell people that their vision could benefit from better lighting, but you'd be surprised how changing a few light fixtures can dramatically improve your ability to get around. Dr. Kaitlyn Cremer-Smith is an occupational therapist with Low Vision Works, and she'll share how lighting matters at a free presentation next Thursday, May 8th at 10:15 a.m. in the King's Crown Community Room. Here's a preview.
Mary Franklin here today with Dr. Kaitlyn Cremer-Smith, and she is going to be teaching a Health Connections session on Lighting Matters. It will take place on Thursday, May 8th at 10:15 a.m. in the King's Crown Community Room. Kaitlyn is from Low Vision Works, and you have been here before. Thanks for returning.
Of course.
You are on property quite a bit here at ShellPoint, but you're returning to do another session in the Health Connections.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about Low Vision Works and what you do here when you are on property.
Well, I'm a low vision occupational therapist, so I basically help patients to see better. We do a little vision retraining. I help patients set up their home so that it's set up so that they can live as independently as possible. Okay. And then I hook them up with the community, making sure they have talking books and they know they can use the library mailing books and different community resources.
All right. You're a great resource to those who need it because it's not just one thing. You really look at the person as a whole person and look at what they can do physically and then rearrange their home and so forth. It's a great program.
Yes.
Okay. The subject you're going to touch on, which is very important and one that I've heard residents talk about, is lighting and how that affects your reading skills, watching TV, and everything. And for me, I just think think the lights are on or lights are off, but there's a lot more to it, right?
There's a lot more to it. There's a lot of different options, and the options can be pretty overwhelming. Depending on what the disease is, what the diagnosis is, depending on what the task is. If you're wanting to read the newspaper or the Bible, that's different than wanting to read a large print book. So depending on what you want to be able to do, depending on what room in your house you're in, you need different types of lighting. So I'm going to cover all the basics for lighting. I'll go over, halogen versus incandescent, and anything you can think of about lighting we'll discuss on that day.
So if you're sewing, and maybe probably night and day probably makes a difference too.
Exactly, depending on if you're by a window or if you're in a room where they don't have windows. So all of that plays a part.
Okay. Of course, this is important for those that are already having issues. Maybe they've been diagnosed with glaucoma or macular degeneration or so forth. But it's important to all of us because the less strain we put on our eyes, the healthier they are, correct?
Exactly. And unfortunately, usually the older you get, the more lighting you need. So you don't necessarily have to have a diagnosis to benefit from the presentation.
All right. Well, we look forward to having you here and this great information. I encourage you all to sign up at either service desk. Once again, it's on Thursday, May 8th at 10:15 a.m. in the King's Crown Community Room. Everyone's invited to attend. Make it a happy and healthy day.
Looking ahead, the Academy is hosting a unique Coffee with a Neighbor event with Benno and Carla Bedinga of Rosemont. They both grew up in Jewish families in the Netherlands, and when the Nazis invaded, they spent years of their lives in hiding. They both eventually made it to the United States, but more than 80% of the Jews in the Netherlands did not survive the Holocaust. Come hear their amazing stories of survival during the occupation at an Academy event happening Wednesday, May 14th at 10 a.m. in the Grand Cypress Room. Seating is limited, so please sign up at either service desk. When it comes to helping you live a healthy lifestyle, perhaps no Shell Point apartment helps you more than the Rehabilitation Center at the Larson Pavilion. Hundreds of Shell Point residents have used the rehabilitation services to regain their independence, and they want to tell their stories. Come hear more at the Benefits of Rehabilitation, a free Health Connection event happening tomorrow at 10 a.m. in the Grand Cypress Room at the Woodlands. Of course, while you're in the pavilion, it's the little things that can make all the difference. A cold cup of water when you need it, or a smile when you're feeling down. The Pavilion Auxiliary features a unique volunteer position called the Concierge, who can do just about anything for residents in the Larson Pavilion. We asked Sherry Brown how important the Concierge can be.
Hello everyone, I'm Terry Kolath, and I'm here today with a very special person. I know you know who she is, Sherry Brown, Director of Long-Term Care here at Shell Point. Thank you for joining me, Sherry.
It's always a privilege. How are you, Terry?
I'm good. Now, you and I have a big mission today. We want to let our residents know about some opportunities we have to do some meaningful work this summer while their other activities may have stopped.
Absolutely.
The first thing I'd like to concentrate on with you, Sherry, is our new concierge programs. We've had these going for a couple of years now. Jerry Nanfeld helped to start each one. We started in first floor with Pam Earl, your nurse manager.
Yes.
It was so successful. We moved on to second, to the memory care unit. Now we're on third floor. Tell me, what does this mean to you, your staff, your residents?
Well, every concierge group is a little bit different because every unit has their own unique needs.
Right.
So the wonderful part was as each group grew, we tailored the program to meet the needs of the unit.
Perfect.
So it really is an adjunct to the staff. Our volunteers interact with the residents and interact with the staff, and staff are prepared to be doing those things that only staff can do because the concierge are handling some of the other opportunities with our residents. So really makes a wonderful program.
Now, I think the nicest thing for the concierge resident volunteers I talk to is they feel so needed, so busy, such a vital part of a unit. On first floor, what kinds of things are the main goals for our rehab unit with our concierge?
Well, often as they interact with a resident, they may explain some of the intricacies of here's how you operate a call light if they've forgotten, or how may I help you get your items into the closet so that things can be hung up and put away appropriately. They might retrieve a blanket if someone says, I'm a little chilly, could I have a blanket? And they might help with just taking a letter and reading it for the resident.
I hear things that on the rehab unit, what's so exciting is they're my friends and neighbors. You know, there they are. They're recovering from an illness or injury, and I get to talk to them and help. Or it may be somebody who doesn't even live at Shell Point, and I'm a kind of an ambassador.
Absolutely, and they do all of that so well. They're excited as much as staff when we're able to see someone improve quickly and go home.
Absolutely. The memory care unit, oh my gosh, that relationship building. People love their volunteer work there.
It's a special place too, Terry. And you know, they get to know a little bit more in depth about each resident that they interact with. So there might be a special set of information for each resident that as the volunteer concierge interacts with them, they might know that that person has 2 children, and then they're able to take on a conversation talking about the kids, or where they lived before, or if someone was in the military, and help to initiate that conversation that long-term memory still recalls. So they build a wonderful relationship.
Wonderful. And then 3rd floor, we always say, that's home.
Oh,
that's where I live with my roommate. I can imagine taking people to get their hair done, or talking with them about something they used to love, like maybe they had been in jazz and stuff before, and just talking about those things that come from that relationship.
Absolutely. And you know, I hear Jerry actually, who's working with that 3rd floor concierge group, she tells me stories about when outside to the lagoon and sat with a resident and talked for 20 minutes. What a valuable interaction, and she loves it. The other concierge feel very connected to it, and the residents just can't be more happy.
Another wonderful opportunity there is to visit. The staff will tell the concierge when they come on duty, this person could use a visit today, and that person. So everybody working together makes sure that our residents on the 3rd floor have lots of interaction.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful team.
So do you think moving into the future there might be other roles that concierges can play?
Well, we're always looking at those opportunities. And on the 3rd floor, they're actually thinking of a little bit of a change from what the other concierge programs are doing, and considering support from a dining companion perspective.
It makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Yes, it You're up there with building relationships with people, continuing them on at mealtime. Well, Sherry, I have another question for you as a director of long-term care. You work with our most vulnerable residents on a daily basis, and I work with the Pavilion auxiliary volunteers in terms of helping to bring them to volunteer service there. Isn't it amazing what we have with so many people volunteering?
Terry, every day I just think what a blessing, don't you?
Absolutely.
It's priceless. I think we are so unique here. Nowhere else do I know in long-term care and skilled nursing is there the support from a volunteer heart and service that we have here. We're just so fortunate.
And I just think it must be such a comfort to know that all these resident volunteers come to see you if you're living or rehabbing in the Pavilion. What a comfort to those auxiliary volunteers to know this has been going on for 23 years. If I should live in our skilled nursing facility one day, there'll be people coming to visit me too.
I think they all look at it from that pay-it-forward perspective. Exactly. And there's a wonderful, wonderful belief that there will be others to follow.
Well, I have to tell you that other people in the community look to you, your staff, your resident volunteers of really being the heart of our community. We salute you, and we're so grateful for what you do there.
Thank you, Terry. It's always a privilege.
So think about it. Give me a call if you think maybe I could fill in for a concierge this summer. The summertime is when we need some extra help, but I really kind of think if you try it, You might like it and want to stay longer. I'm Terry Kolath with Sherry Brown.
Coming up, we are covering all of Thursday's happenings. Then stay tuned for your Academy news, menus, and Village Church connections.
Hi, Shell Point. I'm Melody Desolé, Volunteer Coordinator, here temporarily with Leslie Brand, who's a Program Coordinator, and we're here to talk about Thursday, May 1st activities. Now, keep in mind, it is Activity Sign-Up Day, so you can do so at either service desk or by calling on the phone after 8:15. It's also a National Day of Prayer. We start out bright and early at 7:15 with a Health Connections Bend, Breathe, and Balance class in the Health Club. At 8 o'clock, there's two options. The Men's Golf Association is meeting at the Shell Point Golf Course, and Round Robin Tennis is being played at the Woodlands. At 9:15 on the island is Shuffleboard. Now at 9:30 in the morning, there's 4 different options for you. Current events being held in the game room at the Woodlands, ladies match play on the tennis courts, the Paddlers Club meeting at the kayak storage on the island, and Samba being played in the Sable Room at the Woodlands. At 9:45, there's an introduction to beginning line dancing class in the Health Club. Now, if you've signed up for the Susie Q, they're leaving at 10 o'clock for Woody's for lunch. At 10:15, we have basic line dancing, also held in the Health Club. And at 10:45, we have a community prayer service held in the Social Center on the island. Leslie?
Well, Melody, at 12:45, Mahjong is going to be played in the Library Lounge on the island. Health Connections at 1:30. It's Aqua Pilates Stretch at the Life Quest Aquatic Center. No sign-up required. We also have a Health Connections Balance and Mobility Training Level 2 in the Health Club at 2:45. That class is currently full. The Seamstress will be coming for their weekly service at 4 o'clock in the Osprey Room. 4:30, we have the Alcoholics Anonymous meeting in the Sable Room. And 6:30 is Heart Song at the Florida Repertory Theater in Fort Myers. Court pickups will start at 6:30 on the island, 6:45 at the Woodlands, 7 o'clock at Eagles Preserve, and sign-up is required at either service desk. 6:30, Pinochle in the Library Lounge. And we're going to end today at 7 o'clock with the Trailblazers Bible Study in the game room of the Woodlands. Thank you, everyone, for joining Melody and I today for Thursday's activities. And tomorrow we have the weekend edition, so make sure you tune in. Have a great day.
Menus for Thursday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is General Tso's chicken with jasmine rice and Asian vegetables. The dinner special is the Crystal Carving Board for $12.95, and the soup of the day is country cabbage. In the Island Cafe for lunch, the special is a roast beef cheddar melt with chips for $7.25. The dinner special is Thai night for $8.25. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are ribeye for $19.95 or linguine and clams for $15.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm Andy Hawkins, the senior pastor of the Village Church, and I'm here with Glenda Stephenson, who's our church administrator, and we're here to talk about the renovation project that is getting ready to unfold in the Village Church auditorium. And we're very excited about the prospects of all the things that are going to be done, but we wanted to take a few moments today to sort of bring people up to date on the kinds of activities that are going to be taking place to really give a lift to this facility, which is not only used by the Village Church, but in fact is shared facilities for many Shell Point activities. Right. So tell us, this is just the end of this week. We're going to really be diving into the renovation project significantly. Tell us about some of the things that we're actually going to do in the sanctuary.
Beginning May 1, which is what we've been projecting all along, and praise the Lord, we got our permitting through so that we are right on target. Beginning May 1, we are going to spend a couple days just packing things up. Some of the things that we really need to pay attention to include things like wrapping our instruments. All of our technical equipment has to be wrapped to protect it from dust, and we have to pack up some things under the stage, library, just various places around the church. So that will be taking place May 1 and 2, and that will all be the preparation for the actual demolition, which begins May 5th.
Okay. And what are they going to demolish?
They're going to start in the hospitality room in the chapel, taking down the ceiling and getting it ready for the electrical work that has to be done there. As soon as they get that done, the electricians can move into those spaces, and they will begin to tear out the ceiling in the sanctuary auditorium part of the building. At the same time, they will begin to tear up carpet so that they can do all the messiest part of the demo within a short window of time, and we can get that cleaned up and taken care of.
Now, if somebody just walked into the auditorium and looked at the ceilings, they might not see a major need for renovation, but that's all associated with the electrical upgrade, isn't it? We have the same electrical, basically, facility that we had 40 years ago.
Right.
And so tell us a little bit about the things that we're going to do to the electrical, which would change what we have to do to the ceilings and that kind of thing.
We are adding lighting, for one thing, and making the change over to LED lighting.
Okay.
We are also doing some work with zoning and connecting everything so that we can manage it through our electronic tech booth, which means we'll be able to dim lights, we'll be able to do zone control, and just have a lot more control and flexibility than we currently have. I think once we get back into that space, people will be amazed at the amount of light.
Right.
But we will be able to dim it and control it as needed.
So the amount of light, the control of light, the LEDs not only provide more light, but they also provide a more cost-effective light, more environmentally sound. So there's an environmental component to this as well. And I think it's important to recognize that while a lot of the renovation is cosmetic in the sense that we're dealing with carpet and paint and some of those kinds of things, the lighting is a critically functional part of this whole renovation project. And accounts for probably at least 25% of the whole budget, doesn't it?
That's true, and we're really grateful that we can at least upgrade that part of the facility. We will enjoy the cosmetic overhaul very much, but the lighting is going to just facilitate what happens in that space.
That's right. That's right. Well, in addition to the lighting, then we have other things that are going to take place. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, once they get the electrical work done, the lighting, the ceiling put back, then we'll be working on painting. We'll be recarpeting. We've got a new stage floor to put down, a new back wall for the stage. The men in the wood shop are already working on refurbishing some of our altar furniture and our kneelers and some things like that, and they're doing a beautiful job of it.
I understand they're excited. They're really psyched about this, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
They are. And we'll be doing some trim work around the auditorium, and new chairs, of course, will be part of that process. Eventually, we'll get to the kitchen. That will get redone, and our ladies are very excited about that. Eventually, we'll do the office spaces upstairs, and so right now the offices will still be functioning. People will be able to access that, although they won't be able to get into the main auditorium part of the building. But eventually, we'll do the office space where that will get painted, carpeted, some new lighting installed up there as well, so that when we are done, from the front doors to the back doors, our space will have been totally made over and be fresh.
Well, we're really excited about that.
We are.
Now, tell us a little bit about where we are in the fundraising part of this. We had this campaign called Refresh and Renew, and we were seeking to raise about $1 million to cover these things. And people might wonder about $1 million, but remember, the lighting and electrical is a huge part of this, and it's a big space. But where are we with that, with respect to that fundraising?
Well, I'm so excited about it. Our goal has been $1 million, and it seemed like a lot of money when we started. But as of this moment right now, we are almost at $970,000.
Wow, that's wonderful.
So we are very excited. We feel like God has blessed us. Our people have been generous, and we're so grateful. And we know that we are very, very close to having this fully subscribed.
That's terrific. So starting May 1, we're digging in and getting this thing started. And that means for the foreseeable future, we'll be worshiping in another location. We've talked about that in other programs. And obviously that requires some adjustments and some patience on the part of our people. But it'll be exciting in the long run to see what will happen as a result of the refreshment that we'll have in the Village Church.
We've talked about viewing this as an opportunity, and I think if we can do that, be flexible with what's going on this summer, God will bless us.
That's terrific. Well, we're looking forward to it, I think, even though there are going to be some obvious adjustments that we'll all need to make, especially those of us who work in the building. But we hope that you'll keep us in prayer, and we'll be also very excited about the prospects for refreshing this facility here at Shell Point, the Village Church Auditorium. Blessings to all of you, and we hope to see you soon wherever we happen to be worshiping, whether it's in the Grand Cypress Room in the Woodlands in the next few months, or whether it's in the Social Center on Sunday evenings. We hope to see you. God bless you.
We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in tomorrow as we unlock the secrets of getting a good night's sleep. Until then, this is Shell Point Today for Thursday, May 1st. I'm Kara Minowie. From all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.